it's amazing work. We've been like having breakfast with these people, and really nice to see. Anna Child. I'm from Baltimore. I grew up in North and South Carolina. Thank you all for coming. Let's do it. Last summer, I had my first artist residency at Bird Club in Woodstock, New York. There I made a couple of, this is 8-foot acrylic on linen paintings. In November, I was a resident at the Vermont Studio Center where I made this 8-foot acrylic on paper painting. Printmaking is also an important part of my practice. In January and February of this year, I was a resident at Virginia Center for the Creative Arts, where I focused on making watercolor monotypes like this. I chose this image to show that texture is an important part of my work. This is only 6 by 4 inches. So you can see that in a way that you maybe can't see in the larger pieces. It kind of shows what it might look like up close. This is a 5.5-foot tall watercolor monotype I made at that time at VCCA. I pieced together prints to make this larger image. I like the way it repeats with variation, and in that way it reminds me of children's books I like The Big Red Barn. In March, I had a show outside of DC with funding from the Maryland State Arts Council. On the left and right here are 40 by 30-inch oil and acrylic paintings on linen. And the middle framed ones are watercolor monotypes. The background paintings are 6.5-foot tall acrylic on paper. Due to constrictions of the space, I had proposed covering the gallery panels with painted papers in my grant proposal, but I was still not sure what that would look like. I ended up basing the background paintings on the watercolor monotypes I made at VCCA. My painting practice is largely about creating problems and looking for solutions. I'm happy with the way this show turned out because it mirrors that process. I created the painted background papers out of a problem with the gallery space, and they became really my favorite part of the show. Just before I came to Jentel, I was at Jentel Artist Residency north of San Francisco. There I made more paper on acrylic paintings. This is 5 feet tall. I had really liked the seams from the glued paper on my piece I made at the Vermont Studio Center, so at Chalk Hill, I made the structure of the glued paper first and then painted over that. This one's 6 feet tall. And this is one of the paintings I've been working on at Jentel. Thank you so much. Yeah.
How is it to go from 6 foot to 6 little?
Yeah, I really like big and small, and I'm having a hard time making work that anybody would want to actually buy. I like the big work because it's so physical, and the smaller work, you can really flip through ideas quickly, and especially making the watercolor monotypes. It creates a problem sort of switching back and forth between the painting and the printmaking, but I think they both feed each other in that way because it kind of twists your brain around. Yeah.
So I have kind of a two-part question, but what is the process when you're creating your watercolor monotypes? And the second part of it is, have you done any other kind of printmaking besides monotype?
Yeah, I've done etching and woodcuts, and And the watercolor monotype, I'm glad you asked because a lot of people don't know really even what a monotype is, and it just means it's one impression. But I learned this technique from Phil Sanders, and it's you have a plastic plate or something like that, and then you put gum arabic on it and buff it off, and then paint it with watercolor, and then you let the watercolor dry, and then you print it with damp paper. So when it prints, it looks like it's still wet, which is really appealing. So it can look really fresh. Yeah, you should come to Baltimore and I'll show you.
Hannah, the show that you had, you said outside of Washington, D.C., that really seemed to envelop the viewer. And I assume it went all the way around the gallery, but it also incorporated the floor. If she'll go back, you could see, and I thought, no, there's one more earlier.
Oh yeah, the reflection.
The reflections they're incredible.
Well, and the place.
There's one that's even more here. Now, are those reflections from the other, that must be through the windows on the other?
Yeah, from the windows. Yeah, it had great shadows that really made the space come alive.
I can imagine.